Did you know that this department at Dollar Tree can create some of the most fun, modern DIYs? I'm Jamie, the Crafty DIY guy. I'd like to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. So for this first DIY, we are going to take these various Dollar Tree toys. I've got this Frisbee, and then I've got these pieces from the scrapbook section. These were, I think from Hobby Lobby. I've had them for a little while. And then I've got this wood frame. We're going to go ahead and take our toys all out of here. And the spinner game is kind of fun. I love the wheels that were in here, the propellers. But this one piece we're not going to use. So you can kind of pop that aside and use that for something else. So with the different kind of propellers and Frisbees and different things, I am just kind of playing around with how they are going to lay out. The larger blue Frisbee, I'm not really liking it as much because of the size that it is really, and I don't have a bigger frame. So I'm going to probably end up getting rid of that one. I do like the way these metal kind of cogs look, but I do want to kind of still incorporate them the right way with all the colors. So let's go ahead and put the blue one aside. If you had a larger frame, you could certainly do whatever you wanted with those. And then this one piece kind of came with this plastic insert and it doesn't quite fit. And I'm thinking it was probably related to that other piece that we put aside, but that's okay. I can glue all of these different things together, and I'm just kind of laying out here a design of what I think could possibly work. And then, of course, we've got to take those smaller pieces and we're going to take them out and spray paint them. And I'm going to spray paint them kind of an antique looking black. Now everything dried pretty quickly, so now I'm going to go ahead and just start adding some glue and kind of putting what I'm calling now my cogs or my propellers, whatever you want to call them, because again, this is kind of supposed to look like a interior of a clock or mechanisms of a clock. We're going to start calling everything cogs from now on. So go ahead and glue your larger one in the middle. Again, this is really up to you. So if you wanted to put the smaller one or rearrange them differently, you absolutely could, because this creativity in this part is up to you. I do wish, looking back on this, that I would have bought another set of those plastic propellers, because I do think that that would really look amazing. And I may even go back, because this is definitely going to be a piece that I'm going to end up keeping, unless one of my really good friends ends up taking it, because she's definitely into kind of a steampunk style. And I think she would actually really like this in her house. So, we'll see. If I don't end up keeping it and she ends up stealing it, then I'll make another one. And if she really loves it and I've made another one, then guess what? I'll make another one for her as well, because these toys are pretty easy to find at Dollar Tree. So once you've kind of rearranged what you want and, got it all glued down like this, I just used regular hot glue, by the way. These metal pieces, though, you may want to go ahead and not only use some hot glue, but also use a couple dabs of super glue, and that's just going to help hold these in. The center one there, I ended up having to re-glue that one. So that's just a tip for you if you're going to end up kind of recreating this. By the way, these cogs, these wheels, these metal wheels, they came from Hobby Lobby and they were in the scrapbooking section. I've also seen them at Michael's before. So anything that you can find like that. These are metal, but if you also wanted to use something that was, plastic or wood, you could absolutely do the same thing. The idea here is we're creating something that kind of looks like the inner workings of a clock. And so I've got this last piece here, and I really did want to use this as well. At first, I thought maybe I would kind of put it off to one side, like it was a cog or a wheel coming from the side of the frame. But instead, I decided to go ahead and just incorporate this in to the lower one. You can see there where the, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but you could see where that center clog was moving just a little bit. So that's when I went back and added super glue to all those, by the way. But this is what I did with that kind of half cog there, is I glued it underneath to make it look like it was all kind of one big mechanism. And then after I did go back and again just kind of super glue everything, this is how it turned out. I'm so happy with this. I love this so much, and I love to create, which brings me to today's sponsor, Craftsy. I know whenever I'm chatting with my subscribers, I'm always asked, like, where do I get my inspiration for projects? And I have to say that one way I do this is through learning, and that brings me to today's sponsor, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online community of creative, like-minded makers where members can find endless inspiration, they can advance their skills, and they can discover a new favorite hobby. Craftsy offers over 2,000 inspiring classes for makers of all skill levels with step-by-step instructions in more than 20 different categories like cooking, drawing, sewing, gardening, arts and crafts, and so many more. Craftsy is made for curious people who never want to stop learning, and the Craftsy community welcomes anyone seeking creative inspiration and for those looking to learn new skills. Now, I'm currently taking a geometric watercolor painting class, and I have to say I'm getting more and more confident with freehand painting. You guys know that that's something I'm not super confident with, and I hope that I can kind of show off those skills here on my channel very soon. And what I like about Craftsy is that they're always creating new classes to keep you coming back for more and to really help you stay inspired. If you're in a creative job like this, it's really hard to stay inspired sometimes, and everything on Craftsy is ad-free, by the way. Now, they teach instructional videos that are taught by professionals and experts. They walk you through each technique with step-by-step demonstrations. They provide their expert tips and tricks, and you can even connect with fellow makers and DIY lovers to ask them questions. You can share ideas, and you can stay inspired. And as a member, you can have access to Craftsy's live streaming tutorials where expert instructors share tips, they answer questions, and you get to engage with the Craftsy community in real time. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. That's a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for $1.49. Now, whether you're a beginner crafter or a master at your craft, Craftsy is filled with imaginative doers, dreamers, and makers. On how you end up painting everything. So you're going to need a wood block of some kind from Crafter Square Dollar Tree. You're going to need one of the garden hooks. You're also going to need a plastic bowl, any kind of shape that you like. I took that outside and spray painted it, and while that's drying, I went ahead and took my piece of board here, and I'm just going to stain this. This is some of those routed edge pieces, those boards that you can find at Crafter Square. If you have some scrap wood, you could certainly do this. You could also do this with thicker or longer pieces, absolutely up to you. Go ahead and just make sure that you've got a good amount of your antiquing wax on top of that, and then go ahead and wipe it off, dry it off, all the things. Now, the drill that you see here, don't do what I do. I went in the wrong way because I wanted to create a hole on the back of this that I could hang this up against the wall, but my first hole was not the right direction, so I just made a second hole there. That one that I'm brushing off right now is the correct way to do this, and it's just the angle that you're going to be doing this in. So now that I've got that extra little hole there, I decided to go ahead and just fill that in with a little bit of my antiquing wax because I didn't want to really confuse myself when I was putting the bracket. So now that I know that hole is the correct one, the one down there is not the correct one, and I also made sure I did not go all the way through my wood, by the way, we're going to go ahead and add our bracket. Now, the screws that come on the bracket, they are too long for this project, so I am going to go ahead and use some smaller screws. I highly recommend grabbing a package of smaller screws from your hardware. Just keep it on hand in your stash, in your craft stash, because you're almost always going to use them because the Dollar Tree wood pieces are kind of small, and unless you're going to be doubling them up, then you'll find that the longer screws just don't always work. And it's really a lot easier just to have those smaller screws on hand. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mark where my screw holes are going to be. And the great thing about this wood is the wood is so soft that it's actually pretty easy to just kind of push these screws in. You can't push them all the way in, but you can definitely push them in a decent amount of, a decent depth, I would say. So go ahead, just grab your screwdriver and just tighten them up, and then you've got something that looks like this. Now, this little puck light, you can get these at Dollar Tree as well. Anytime I see these, I always pick up a couple of them because they're so handy. They're great under your kitchen sinks. They're great in the bathroom. They are fantastic for DIYs, and they're the easiest thing to have. They also have this adhesive back, so it does make them really easy to put them in different places. I'm actually going to glue mine. Check out the bowl. I sprayed the inside gold, and then I've got the outside black, and you can see that puck light was just there in the center. Very easy to change the batteries in this as well. I'm going to add some super glue to the center there, and then we are also going to add some hot glue. Typically, just don't put the hot glue on top of the super glue. It's better if you kind of separate them. Really, the hot glue is just to help kind of hold an instant bond. And then the super glue is going to really help this out because you are gluing metal, and hot glue and metal just don't always work out sometimes. So go ahead and add a decent amount. You can even add more, but this is what it looks like. I've got it hanging up in a little cozy corner next to my clock. Super happy with the way this one looks and really, really love how cute this is. Now, this next DIY, I did see this on TikTok. I thought that this was really, really cute. Really, really cute. Not cute. And I wanted to make kind of my version of it. So go ahead and remove this cardboard. You're going to remove this from your frying pan lid. And by the way, the other thing is a picture stand that is from Dollar Tree. It's in the photo section. I was going to say Crafter Square, but it's not from the Crafter Square section. Look at it. Look for it where the frames are. So you're going to go ahead and remove the knob here. All you're going to need is a screwdriver for that. And it does kind of create a little hole there, but that's not a big deal because we are going to be covering that up. So I'm going to take this wood block, and I did put a decent amount of glue on there. And because I'm working with a mesh screen here, I'm going to put this piece of cardboard behind here, although I forgot that that was not opened up. So, because I meant to trim it and open it up. So you can see when I flip this over, I've got a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay because I could have kept it on there because you notice that piece of cardboard did have a little bit of a hanger place at the top, but I didn't. I ended up just kind of peeling off the rest of that. So took everything out, spray painted it this beautiful gold color, this kind of bronzy gold color. And now we are going to just kind of create something a little unexpected. We're going to go ahead and take some glue. We're going to add it to that center square again. And this is on the right side of the square. You can see that you didn't see that cardboard backing. And then we're going to take a Dollar Tree mirror and we're going to add it to the center here. I'm going to cover it up with my hands so you guys aren't being blinded by what I'm doing there. I took the stand outside and spray painted that the same color gold here. Now you've got a place to hang your earrings. You've got a place for all of your post earrings, your danglies, and you've got a mirror to see how you put them on every morning. I really think this is super, super cute. For this next project, we are going to be creating something that is kind of high-end and fancy decor. And both of these items did come from Dollar Tree, by the way. If I can find more of those little gold chalkboard frames, I am going to be buying those like crazy. I'm warning all of you now. If you shop at the same store as I do, you're not going to be able to find them. I took this salamander outside and I spray painted him my favorite color, blue. And I did not spray the underside of him because of two reasons. One, he is a little sticky because he's an air freshener. And the blue paint that is on the front side of him is not fully dry yet, but it's dry enough that I can hold it and kind of do what you see me doing here. I also wanted to keep his kind of hands and feet dry. That way I could glue everything down without it being an issue. So go ahead and just take your little salamander guy and just kind of center him on the chalkboard. And again, you can paint this any color you want. I almost went with like a metallic gold, but I kind of like the blue with the transition here. It's just a fun little art piece, and I really love this. You would see this at a high-end decor store and probably pay a ton more money for it. Now, when I saw these mirrors, I screamed at Dollar Tree, $1.25 each. There you see my reflection with the camera in the craft room. I bought 6 of these, and the idea here is that we're just going to glue them all together. Now, I will tell you, see how this one has tape on the corner? These frames are so thin and so brittle. There were probably 12 in my Dollar Tree, and I could only grab 6 of them because the others were broken. So if you find these, hopefully you won't run into the same thing that I did. And the idea here is that we're going to join these all together, and I do want them to be, you know, kind of perfectly spaced together. The problem with this is that these frames do have a little bit of a rounded edge, but it's not that big of a deal because what we're going to do is we're going to start kind of crisscross ways, or we're going to start, I guess, vertical versus horizontal. And all of these kind of raised points that are on the backs of these frames, it's kind of where the hanger is, and it's also where these just kind of points are that kind of create the structure, I guess, of the frame itself. I'm adding super glue, and then I'm also going to go in and add some hot glue, and I'm breaking my earlier rule because I don't have much space to work with here. And we are going to be kind of adding these pieces of board. Now, these boards came from Crafter Square, and they're the perfect length for this. And honestly, they are just what I had on hand. So again, we're just kind of going back through. I've got all of the footage sped up here also, by the way, and using every single little drop of glue in that particular tube. I'm going to swap out the tube. We're going to add some more hot glue into this, and we're just going to kind of repeat everything that you saw me doing there. So now for this next part, I do want to make it to where all of these pieces are really held together nicely. And so I added a bunch of hot glue, and then I did cut down a piece of foam board. That way I could put this over the back of it. And it really just kind of helps secure all the mirrors. There's not a great way to hang those mirrors all together, but this is what it looks like when it's all done. I put this on my bar. I really, really love this, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this. If I can find 6 more of these mirrors, I'm going to be making a huge mirror for my fireplace mantle. All right, you guys, me and Mr. Otis are saying goodbye. Stay tuned. There's some really, really cool content coming up in my suggested videos.